For 15 years, this young man didn't know who his father was. Then he met one of these three men. Number one, what is your name, please?
My name is Michael Levine.
Number two.
My name is Michael Levine.
Number three.
My name is Michael Levine.
Only one of these people is the real Michael Levine, and is the only one sworn to tell the truth. Now let's meet our panel. Actor and raconteur, Orson Bean. Emmy Award-winning actress, Betty White. Co-star of Night Court, Richard Moll. And to tell the truth's very own, Kitty Carlisle. Here's the host of To Tell the Truth, Alex Trebek.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our show. If you will indulge me for just a moment, I'd like to begin this program with a brief confession. To tell the truth, I am absolutely thrilled to be here because for the very first time in over 18 years of hosting television shows here at NBC, this is the first time I get to work sitting down. And I thank NBC for this relief, believe me.
How does it feel?
Well, it feels a little low. I think they gave me the shaft. There we go. Hello, panel. All right, let's get to the story represented by our first team of challengers, all three of whom claim to be Michael Levine. And this is his story. Please read along with me. I, Michael Levine, went on vacation and came home with a 15-year-old son. When I was a teenager, I had worked on a volunteer construction project in St. Lucia, a tropical island paradise. While there, I had a brief romantic encounter with a young woman and then returned to life in America. 15 years later, a bachelor buddy of mine suggested we go on a Caribbean vacation. Coincidentally, we arrived in St. Lucia. I told my friend about my previous trip. Retelling the story aroused my curiosity, and the next morning we went to the same village I had visited 15 years earlier. We learned that the woman had moved away to the hills and that she had a son. They called him Yellow Boy. At that moment, I knew I was a father. We asked around some more and found out my son worked in a nearby village. The next day, I met Tony, and now he lives with me. And it's signed Michael Levine. Welcome, gentlemen. We'll find out more about our bachelor father right after this. All right, panel. These three gentlemen all claim to be Michael Levine, who met his son for the very first time on a tropical island. Let's start the questioning with you, Kitty.
Thank you. Number one, were you married when you went back for the second time?
No, I wasn't.
Number two, did you recognize the boy as your son?
At first, no, not at all. But then I noticed he had the same nose I had.
And number three, did he have characteristics of your family that you could relate to?
He probably has more characteristics of other members of my family than he does to myself.
Well, that happens too.
Some good groundwork set up for you there, Richard. You begin the questioning now.
Yes, number one, what's your son's middle name?
He doesn't have a middle name.
What major island is Santa Lucia near, number three?
Martinique.
What college was it that you worked at, number one?
I worked in a college in West Palm Beach.
Called?
West Palm Beach College.
Sounds very straightforward. Betty?
Number two, why did they call him Yellow Boy?
Because of his mixed heritage.
Number three, was his mother alive when you went back to find him?
His mother is still alive today, yes. She was not on the island.
But number one, have you seen his mother?
Oh, you're out of time, Betty. Let's go to Orson.
Yeah, I've been to St. Lucia, and I must say they have the most beautiful women in the world. In fact, I was there about 15 years ago. That kid looks like... number one, now, is there a cultural problem on his part adjusting from island life to wherever you live?
Actually, No, I think I'm the one adjusting more than he is.
Number 3, is it strange to have a son who says, hey, man, can I have my allowance? Does he talk in that wonderful way that the island people?
I had a hard time commuting. He speaks like a French dialect called patois, so it was kind of hard for me to understand.
Oui, man, I want my allowance. Number 2, now, is his name Levine now?
No.
We will not have time to pursue anything else. Time's up, panelists. It's time now for you to vote for one of these 3 gentlemen. Number 1, number 2, or number 3. And our team of challengers will receive $500 for each incorrect vote with a guarantee of $1,000. And if our panel is fooled completely, and that happens on occasion, the team will receive $3,000. Panelists, are you ready? Kitty?
Oh, it's very difficult because any one of them could be, they all look very young to have a 15-year-old son. And they're all good-looking enough to have won the heart of a maiden, an island maiden. But I voted for number 2.
All right, let's go to Richard.
You're all liars! Every one of you! I don't vote for any of them. I had to vote for one, so I voted for number 1 because I used to have a press agent named Michael Levine, and he kind of looks like him.
I suppose that's as good a reason as any. Betty, who did you vote for?
Well, the answers were all very convincing. Perhaps because I spoke to number 2 at greater length, I voted for number 2.
And Orson?
They're all great liars. I don't know. I voted for number 2 as well because he does have that kid's nose. I could see him sitting in the audience.
All right, the votes are all in. Let's see what we have. Number 1 managed to convince Richard. Number 2 was most convincing. He got the votes of all of the other panelists. And number 3, no votes for you. So it's time now to find out who the real father is. And so, gentlemen, will the real Michael Levine please stand up? It's number 3. Michael Levine is number 3. Michael, we'll get back to you in just a moment. Let's find out who our imposters are. Number 1, you got 1 vote. Who are you and what do you do?
My name is Danielle Riddell, and I sell maternity clothes.
I see. Number 2, you are the most convincing of our challengers. Who are you? And tell us a little bit about yourself.
My name is Stephen Douglas. I'm a sex educator and MFCC counselor.
Well, good for you. Gentlemen, you managed to stump our panel, and that means the team will receive $3,000. Michael, this was a most heartwarming story. You, number 1, tried to touch on the adjustments your son Tony has had to make in coming to the United States. Where do you and Tony live?
In New Jersey.
And what's the biggest adjustment for him?
Probably the communication, actually, because his English is very broken English. That's based on his French, and it's hard for him, a lot of people, to understand him when he talks.
Well, let's let him speak for himself. Ladies and gentlemen, here is Michael Levine's son, Tony. Tony, welcome aboard. What's the best thing about living here in the United States, and what do you miss most about St. Lucia?
Well, the most thing I miss about St. Lucia is the weather condition, and the best thing I like here is I could go back to school again and start all over.
Well, good for you. Gentlemen, thank you all so much for sharing this story with us today and being with us on To Tell the Truth. We're going to come back with Marilyn Monroe's stand-in right after this. We're back, ladies and gentlemen. Our panelists were completely fooled with that first group. Let's meet our next team of challengers.
Number 1, what is your name, please?
My name is Evelyn Moriarty.
Number 2.
My name is Evelyn Moriarty.
Number 3.
My name is Evelyn Moriarty.
It's up to our panel to locate the real Evelyn Moriarty, and here's her story. I, Evelyn Moriarty, was Marilyn Monroe's stand-in. I doubled for Marilyn on the movies Let's Make Love, The Misfits, and her last film, which she never finished, Something's Got to Give. Marilyn was a warm, sweet human being, and generous to a fault. In fact, I'd have to guard myself about admiring anything she was wearing. She'd either give it to me or get me a duplicate. On one occasion, I almost lost my hair trying to bleach it the same color as Marilyn's. I also had a frightening experience in The Misfits when I had to double for Marilyn driving a car. Only too soon did everyone realize I didn't know how to drive. By the way, you may notice that each of us has a mole on our face, but each mole is in a different place. That's because Marilyn's mole was fake, and she used to move it around. Marilyn's sense of humor was always with her. She once made up her own epitaph to read 372235 R.I.P. And it's signed Evelyn Moriarty. Ladies, we're delighted to have you here. We're going to begin the questioning with a Marilyn Monroe fan, Orson B.
Indeed, I am, Alex. Yeah, I once read Marilyn described as the Venus de Milo sculptured in angel cake. Number one, was she as lovely in person as she appeared to be in the films?
Absolutely. Yes, she was.
Number three, you knew her right up to the end, like when she was working on that last picture, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
I hear she was very good in that, in the bits of it that they still have.
She was wonderful.
Now, number two, would you describe her as an unhappy person, or more as much as the public thinks, or what?
No, she was a very happy person.
Was she? Number one, now that generosity, did she show that to everyone she worked with, or did she have a special relationship with you?
Well, we did have a special relationship.
I can imagine standing in for her all the time.
All right, Betty.
Number two, how was she around the horses in the Misfits?
She was almost thrown from the horse she rode.
And number one, what was her reaction to the horses in the Misfits?
She was afraid of them, yes.
Number two, how was her relationship with Clark Gable in the Misfits?
She was in awe of Clark Gable.
Thank you.
Richard?
Number one, what are you doing after the show? No, number one. Now, come on, be serious now. Who's in the Misfits besides Clark Gable?
Eli Wallach.
Number two, what kind of a car was it that you drove in this?
A station wagon.
What make?
I don't remember.
Number three, what year was it made? Something's Got to Give.
1962.
1962.
So much for lonely Richard Moll's questioning, trying to line up a date for after the program. Kitty, over to you.
Number one, do you believe that the stories that she committed suicide in the end?
Yes, I do.
Number three, who was she married to at the time of her death?
She wasn't married.
And number two, who was she married to during the Misfits?
Arthur Miller.
Number one, how was her relationship with Arthur Miller?
Sorry, Kitty, we have to interrupt you. There's the signal. It's time now, panelists, to vote for who you think is the real Ms. Moriarty. Is it number one, number two, or number three? Orson, we're going to start with you.
Well, I don't know. I figured I voted for number two because I think her mole is in the best place, and she probably had first choice.
I see. Good a reason as any. Betty?
Well, I always remembered that Marilyn was never as tall or as big as, big she was, but not as tall as she, we all thought. So I think maybe I'm going to go for number two for that reason. 2
votes for number two so far. Richard?
Well, I didn't vote for number one because I didn't get the feeling she really wanted to go out with me. And number three, I don't know, when she was up on the stage, up there taking her introduction, it looked like she was trying to be somebody she wasn't. I could be wrong there. So I'm going to vote for number two.
So far, it's unanimous. Will it be a sweep for number two, Kitty?
Oh, dear. Yes, it will be. I think it's number two as well.
I see. All right, well, all of the votes are in. Number one had no votes, primarily because she wouldn't go out with Richard after the show. Number two picked up all of our panel's votes, and number three got no votes as well. Let's find out who Marilyn Monroe's stand-in really is. Will the real Evelyn Moriarty please stand up? It is number two. Evelyn, you got all 4 votes, and that means the team will receive that $1,000 guarantee. We'll find out about the imposters in just a moment, but I'd like you to talk to us about some of the pictures we brought along. The first photo we have here is of someone on a horse. Is that you or Marilyn?
That's me, and that's the horse that Marilyn rode that almost threw her. Her makeup man, Whitey.
I see.
Saved her.
And our next photograph?
That's on the set, in the bar room up in the Reno. on the Misfits set where she did the paddleboard. She was supposed to get a double for that, but she did it, I think, 165 times.
Now, you doubled for her in the automobile. Did you also double for her riding the horse? And are you a good horsewoman?
No.
No, not at all? All right, well, let's find out who our imposters are. Number one, who are you and what do you do?
I'm Gigi St. John. I sell women's clothing at Casual Corner.
Well, we're happy to have you here today. And number three, who are you? And tell me a little bit about yourself. Your name first.
I'm Norma Jean Yon.
Really, Norma Jean?
Really, Norma Jean. It's on my birth certificate. Norma Jean Yon, and I'm a clerical worker.
Well, it was great having you with us today. And again, a $1,000 guarantee for you. Thank you so much, ladies. We'll be back to play one-on-one with someone from our studio audience right after this. So far in our program, we've gone from the agony of defeat to the thrill of victory. The panelists were 0 for 4 the first time and 4 for 4 the second time. And now we have to play one-on-one with someone from our studio audience. Burton, who do you have for us today, please?
Alex, today we have Gordon Henderson from Los Angeles, California.
Hello, Gordon.
Hi, Alex.
Here's your chance to play one-on-one and win some cash in the process. I want you to meet a gentleman who has 2 stories to tell. Let's welcome Sam Watson. Gordon, Sam is going to tell us 2 stories, only one of which is the truth. And if you can spot the true story, you will win $500. Sam, what's your first story?
Last month, John F. Kennedy Jr. passed the bar. I just hired him as my assistant.
Well, that certainly sounds plausible. It may or may not be the truth. Let's listen to Sam's second story.
I design unusual earrings. They are called safe ears. Inside each earring is a condom.
Sam, would you repeat that last part again, please? You design earrings?
Unusual earrings called safe ears. Inside each is a condom.
Thank you very much. All right, panel, to help Gordon up there win $500, you'll get to ask 1 question about each story. And we'll start with story number 1, the Kennedy story. Kitty?
Thank you. Sorry, Mr. Watson. Who did John F. Kennedy work for before he worked for you?
He worked for a district attorney in New York City.
Thank you.
Richard?
Joe Jr. was always a slow child. How many times did he take the bar exam before he passed?
He took it twice.
Betty?
What kind of law does your organization, or you and he specialize in?
Primarily corporate law.
Corporate.
Orson?
Do you think you're going to hold on to him, or do you expect to see him getting into public life one day?
Well, our hope is that we'll hold on to him.
Me too.
All right, now let's get to story number 2, Gordon. This is the one about the earrings with condoms in them, and I can't tell you how happy I am that we're starting the questioning at this end of the panel and not that end. I know about Orson and Betty. Kitty?
Mr. Watson. Mr. Watson, are these condoms for midgets?
No, they're not.
Richard?
This gives the expression "in your ear" a whole new meaning, doesn't it? I'll tell you. Boy. Did you used to work for the Cracker Jack people? I'm just curious. Okay, but seriously.
Was that your question? Oh, now's your question.
No, that's right. That was rhetorical. Okay, tell me, what brand of condoms do you put in there?
They're called gold circle coin condoms.
Ooh, those are the best. Great.
Betty?
How do you get a whole apartment building in a little bitty earring? That's what I want.
We'll assume that, too, is a rhetorical question.
Yes,
That's a condominium.
Oh, pardon me. When did you first get the idea for this product?
Well, when I saw the big gold coin, I thought that you might be able to get a condom inside.
I see.
And Orson.
I just love this whole line of questioning and listening to Kitty moaning quietly at the end. Oh, dear. Now, you don't sell your earrings in machines in the men's room, do you, I suppose?
No.
No, thank you. You look about as happy as Kitty
That's your
does.
question. All right, Gordon, you have heard the cross-examination. Did Sam hire John F. Kennedy Jr., or does he design condom earrings?
Well, he looks like somebody who's trying to look like a lawyer, but I'm not buying that. So I'm going to say that he designed condom earrings.
All right. Sam Watson, what's your true story?
To tell the truth, I designed condom earrings.
Gordon, congratulations to you. You just won $500 in cash. And thanks to Sam Watson for playing one-on-one with us. We'll take a break, and we'll come back right after this. That's it for us, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see you all next time on To Tell the Truth. So long.
This is Burton Richardson speaking for To Tell the Truth, a Mark Goodson television production.
See you tomorrow.
We love you. We'll see you here on the Family Feud.
Joe, until next time, this is Peter Tremarkin on behalf of the Focati Rug saying thanks for pressing your luck. Bye-bye.
Anyway, we have just 10 seconds to say goodbye. We'll see you tomorrow. So long.
Bye-bye. Yeah.
We got 5 seconds.
Oh, no, we have 3,
2, 1.
Bye.